State theft, legalized robbery. We're peeling back the layers on something that's been staring us in the face forever. The ways governments keep themselves afloat. It's not all about grand speeches or noble causes. Nah, we're talking about the gritty mechanics of pulling resources from people, often against their will. Stick around as we explore how this machinery operates and why it might be dragging us all down a slippery slope. Picture this, a world where the folks in charge promise safety and services, but the bill comes with a side of strong-arm tactics. It's like a neighborhood watch that turns into a full-blown operation demanding your hard-earned cash or else. We'll unpack how these methods aren't just inconvenient, they're a recipe for rot from the inside out. By the end, you might see your paycheck in a whole new light. Alright, let's get into the meat of it. First off, think about the classic way states fill their coffers, through what amounts to a holdup on your earnings. Yeah, I'm talking about the enforced collection of funds, where refusal means facing the music, fines, asset grabs, or even jail time. This isn't some voluntary donation. It's larceny dressed up in official paperwork. Governments wield the threat of force, much like a brigand demanding tribute from travelers. It's burglary on a massive scale, a ripoff where your labor's fruits are pilfered under the guise of civic duty. And don't get me started on how this thievery extends to every corner. Shoplifting from your savings through hidden fees, or outright plunder when they seize property for public use. But it gets sneakier. Beyond the direct stick-up, there's the backdoor swindle via currency manipulation. When the powers that be crank up the printing presses to cover their debts, they're essentially diluting the value of every dollar in your pocket. This is embezzlement in slow motion, a fraud where your money's purchasing power gets misappropriated without you even noticing at first. It's like a con artist chiseling away at your wealth, gouging you through inflation that acts as a hush money to keep the system afloat. Governments have done this for ages. Think ancient rulers debasing coins by mixing in cheaper metals, turning solid gold into a scam. In modern times, it's the same hustle. Racketeering through monetary policy that fleeces savers and rewards debtors. Your retirement fund is getting skinned alive, bled dry by this blood-sucking scheme. And enforcement? Oh, it's not just about the overt threats. There's a whole layer of psychological twisting, shaming you into compliance like some ignominious public spectacle. Picture letters from the taxman hinting that your neighbors are all paying up, making you feel like the odd one out, the disgraceful holdout. It's mortifying, demeaning, a way to stigmatize and discredit anyone who questions the system. Then there's the darker side. Chantage where officials lean on you with veiled menaces, putting the screws on through intimidation or even outright blackmail. Twist someone's arm long enough, and they'll cough up. It's coercion wrapped in bureaucracy, a bulldoze tactic that wrings every last cent. Now, let's chew on what this all means for us as a society. These methods aren't just annoying, they're poison. When financing relies on violent crime or sneaky theft, it breeds endless corruption. Officials get hooked on the power, turning public service into a personal grift. Bribes become the norm, fraud escalates, and suddenly you've got a system where depredation is baked in. This leads straight to decline. Economies stutter because trust erodes, innovation stalls under the weight of overcharging and swindling. Degeneracy sets in as moral lines blur. Why play fair when the top dogs are running a bunco game? It's a downward spiral into rapacity, where the state becomes a giant confidence trick, milking citizens while promising protection that's really just a rort. Take historical lenses. In ancient Rome, emperors like Nero sacked the treasury through currency despoliation, leading to economic looting that weakened the empire. Brigandage flourished as trust in the system crumbled. Fast forward to Bolshevik regimes, where Bolshevism enforced redistribution through terror, reallocation by gunpoint, reapportionment that crushed spirits and sparked famines. Communism's repartition turned societies into wastelands of scarcity and fear, with redisbursement favoring the elite while the masses faced leveling by force. Marxism's redivision promised equality but delivered degeneracy, as corruption festered in the shadows of state control. Or consider medieval Europe, where kings ran protection rackets, pay tribute or face the raid. It was housebreaking on a national scale, with felonies excused as royal prerogative. This mobbing of the populace, swarming them with demands, led to endless wars and decline. Infrastructure rotted, trade jammed, and people herded into poverty. The shakedown wasn't just financial. It was soul-crushing, besetting folks with harassment that infested every aspect of life. In our era, the shadow economy balloons as people dodge the official pilferage, turning to smuggling or filching to survive. This complementarity amps up debt. Governments borrow more to cover the gaps, creating a kite of obligations that crashes economies. High debt invites defaults, stifles growth, and deepens inequality. Corruption and unofficial markets act as partners in crime, magnifying each other's damage. When officials engage in chiseling or skinning through inflated spending, it spirals into fiscal chaos, leaving societies overrun with instability. The analysis boils down to this: coercion at the core invites evil. Enforced payments via threats or shame erode morale, making folks see the system as a vile, opprobrious trap. It patronizes citizens, showing them in a bad light as mere revenue sources. This leads to a contumelious culture where contempt for authority festers, and social bonds clog with distrust. Ganging up on individuals through collective pressure, thronging them with norms and gossip, might work short-term, but it backfires, fostering a calumniatory environment ripe for more abuse. History whispers warnings. Empires fall when financing turns to piracy or sack. The buccaneering of public funds invites endless corruption, a mare's nest of scandals that twist societies into knots. Decline isn't sudden. It's the slow infestation of degeneracy, where moral decay and economic obstruction pile up like unchecked baggage. Let me pull out some timeless insights to drive this home. One thinker from the past put it bluntly: taxation of earnings from labor is on a par with forced labor. It's like being compelled to toil for another's gain, a form of depredation that steals not just money but time. Another historical voice called inflation embezzlement through artificial increases in money supply, channeling goods from producers to parasites, a counterfeiter's delight. And on debt. An increase in corruption leads to an increase in public debt, as shady dealings reduce revenues and balloon wasteful outlays. From ancient texts, debasing currency is theft, wronging the people by declaring more value where there's less. Echoes from rebellions. Enforced tribute is demanding money with menaces, a hold to ransom that bleeds societies dry. In wrapping this up, I gotta say, awareness is key. See through the ramp and the twist. Question the steaming and the blag. Push for systems built on consent, not coercion. Voluntary exchanges beat the daylight robbery any day. If we ditch the exaction and the gouging, we might stem the tide of corruption and reclaim some dignity. Keep thinking critically. Stay vigilant. Stay free.